Good evening, this is GW Johansson again with another Criterion Collection update. Last time I said I might make one when I have another 30, but that's $900, so I don't think that's going to be happening anytime soon. So I'm going to cut to the chase, and I'm only going to show you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 new ones that I have gotten recently in the past 4 months. So also this time it gives me more time to tell you a bit about the movies, the transfers, the extras, and how I think about them, what they mean to me. So let's get started. First one we have is Alfred Hitchcock's The Lady Vanishes. And this one's pretty neat because this one comes not only with its commentary and an excerpt from Truffaut and Hitchcock, but it comes with a 1941 movie called Crook's Tour, which features 2 of the characters from this show, and another movie. I want to say it's Night Train to Munich? Maybe not. Maybe it's one of those movies. One of those British espionage films. But they are both in this other movie called Crook's Tour, and the whole thing is featured on here. And I don't know if it's high def or not. I haven't gotten around to it yet. This is a really good movie. I am really excited to also pick up 39 Steps. Both of these would make a great double feature. Next we have Stanley Donen's Charade. Cary Grant is my all-time favorite actor, and Audrey Hepburn, well, right behind me I have 2 posters of her. I love her to bits. And I would say from both actors, this is one of their best movies. Cary Grant's in his later days, but it shows that he can still be a A-list star. And there's not much on here except for a commentary, but it looks good, especially since this is public domain, so this is the best copy you can get of it. Next is Martin Scorsese's The Last Temptation of Christ. This movie I just saw last Christmas time, I guess, which was just coincidental. But do I love this movie. This is one hell of an underrated Scorsese movie. I know it's well acclaimed, but still not a lot of people have seen this. And there's an audio commentary, there's a couple of old videos that Martin Scorsese shot, which are kind of funny, but not much else, but wonderful movie. Next up we have Powell and Pressburger's Black Narcissus. This is possibly the most beautiful movie. It uses Technicolor to its ultimate best, and you can't get better than Technicolor in the late 40s and early 50s when they were really using it to its full potential. Jack Cardiff, my favorite cinematographer, just outdid himself on this movie with all the sets and the matte paintings in the background. It's just unbelievable, and there's a lot of great bonus features on here. Introduction, audio commentary, a lot of people like Jack Cardiff and what is her name? Kathleen Byron. They are interviewed only a couple years ago. So this is one hell of a movie. I recommend this one highly. Next up we have Fellini's 8½. This is a movie I just saw recently, but I fell in love with it instantly. If you're a filmmaker or even just a movie lover, this is just eye candy. I mean, the idea of a story of a director having a director's block, you could say, and going back through his memories as a child, as whatever, and just the whole movie is so wonderful to watch, and is literally packed with bonus features. I haven't even gotten through all of them, but I mean, it has another movie by Fellini on it. It's called A Director's Notebook, which who wouldn't want to watch that? Another documentary that's 48 minutes. There's a 52-minute documentary on this lost ending of Fellini's for 8½. This is as good as you can get on Criterion Blu-ray. Next up we have David Cronenberg's Videodrome. I love this movie. I saw it a long time ago, but once I picked it up again and I saw it again, this is easily Cronenberg's masterpiece. It has everything that he all of his themes in all of his movies. This is just the ultimate of sex, violence, horror, and it's perfect with being video in the 80s. It just completely shows that for a movie time can make a movie just so much better, and also just transcends it from being a movie and kind of almost blueprints for the future. And I love the art, box art on the DVD case art. This is wonderful, and there's some really good bonus features in this. I haven't even gotten to all of them because there's so many, but there's this one that's really good. It is called I really don't know. Oh, it's called Fear on Film. It's a roundtable discussion with Cronenberg, John Landis, John Carpenter, and it's all done by Mick Garris. And it's really wonderful just to hear all these really diverse horror directors in their prime. John Carpenter's making The Thing, and John Landis is making American Werewolf in London. So it's really cool to hear all of them talking to each other, and just hearing their different opinions about movies. John Landis being the true horror fanatic who knows everything about horror movies, and John Carpenter, who doesn't get scared at horror movies, and David Cronenberg, who's the quietest guy ever. So I would recommend this one highly. Next up is Ponte Corvo's Battle of Algiers. This movie I bought on a whim. All my friends and a lot of people have seen this and have said this is one hell of a movie, one of the best movies ever. And I picked it up. I didn't know what I was going to expect. It was one of the $40 ones because you get a ton of, you get a book with tons of essays, and it's a 2-disc Blu-ray. You know, it's packing a punch. And I watched it the night I bought it, and it blew me away. It wasn't even as good as they said it was. All my friends and people, it was 10 times better. This movie stands out. You can watch this movie and you can see almost any crime or revolution film after this was made. Take like at least half of this movie and use it for themselves. Soderbergh always loves to talk about how, for Traffic, he just tries to steal as much ideas from this movie as he can. When he was making that, he used the whole score as a temp track by Morricone, which is a great soundtrack. It's got 2 discs, Blu-ray packed full of features. I can't even start to, you know, I only watched one thing so far in this, and there's a great booklet with full of essays. This is one of the best movies I have on Criterion, and one of the best movies I've ever seen. Next up we have Nicholas Ray's Bigger Than Life. I am a huge, huge 50s Technicolor melodrama fan, and this is one of the best and one of the most underrated. Not a lot of people know this one, so I'm glad Criterion brought this out onto Blu-ray. It has James Mason in one of his best roles, if not his best. He is amazing in this, and Barbara Rush and Walter Matthau, and it's a movie that really showed the importance of drugs that you can get over counters back in the 50s, back in the perfect days of white picket fences and middle-aged families, middle-class families, sorry, and it shows drug abuse in a really early movie that I can't believe that he got away with all this back then. I feel like, I mean, obviously Nicholas Ray became a rebel and a rogue because everyone thought he was crazy making his bold movies, but this is one of his boldest, and it really shows without kind of trying to make too many underlying themes. It's, by the end of it, it gets nuts. There's some decent bonus features which I haven't gotten around to yet, but this one I highly recommend, is at least just to watch it because it's way underrated and more people need to check this one out. Next up we have Chaplin's The Great Dictator. This movie is freaking hilarious. It has a lot of great bonus features, a lot of early Chaplin shorts, and a couple documentaries on him, and how at the time there was a real good comparison to him and Hitler and what they were doing at the time. Not saying that Chaplin's Hitler, but a lot of the things that they were doing that were just huge around the world. Chaplin making people laugh and Hitler making people cry. But This movie is really funny, and it was his first sound feature, but it's as good as most of his silent stuff. And I'm not saying Gold Rush or Modern Times or City Lights good, but this is worth checking out. Next up we have Honda's Gojira. This movie, this is as good as sci-fi gets from the 50s and the 60s or any time. This is a movie that packs all the punch that you want from a creature feature or monster feature in this case, with great special effects, and they have fun characters like the scientist with the eye patch. I love him. But it has so many great political themes. That's something like Romero would do later on in the 60s, and this is a great Criterion Collection Blu-ray. It's got tons of features. And it's got one more thing that I think I need to show everyone. That was nuts. Here's the booklet that comes into it. Last but not least, we have Hal Ashby's Harold and Maude. I love Hal Ashby. The first movie I ever saw of his was The Last Detail. After that I saw probably Coming Home, and then I saw this one. And I knew a lot of people have seen this and love it. It's a cult classic. It didn't fare so well when it first came out, but this movie is wonderful. And this is easily, I think, the most accessible one of Hal Ashby's movies because it's fun for everyone. It's a love story. It's a dark comedy. But it doesn't go too specific, like Shampoo's a sex farce, and The Last Detail is a Navy, you know, comedy, and then Coming Home's like a veteran dramedy. Being There's just completely different, but this is one that I think everyone would like. I'm not a big fan of the box art. I just want to say this because I can't say it to anyone else. But whatever. I just can't feel the Hal Ashby in it, or the the late 60s vibe from it. I feel too much of a Tintin feel. I don't know why. Anyways, it's got a lot of, it's got a decent amount of extras, and it's got a nice booklet. But what I hope that Criterion would do is bring more Hal Ashby to the Criterion Collection, because Shampoo, I would love to see get a Criterion Blu-ray transfer, because they did that movie on Laserdisc, but it's not got the best DVD right now, and I would just love to see that, and The Last Detail, and Being There, and Coming Home. I mean, it would be wonderful to see some of his movies get onto Criterion Blu-ray. Well, that's it for now, and I will come back with another 5, maybe 10, I don't know. It'll just depend on how many I get in the next 4 months, but in 4 months I'll probably make another update. But in the meantime, have a good night, and I hope you enjoyed.